Story 1. I'm Mark. I'm 38 years old. I moved into this house in a small Midwest town about 2 months ago. After my divorce, I just wanted a fresh start, you know? I picked up this old house, but it's cozy, with a front porch where I can sip coffee and look out at the street. It's a quiet neighborhood, the kind where you hear birds in the morning and hardly anyone walks by. I figured it'd be the perfect spot to get my head straight. The house needs some fixing up, but I'm taking it slow. I work as a software engineer, so I spend most of my day on the computer right here at home. At night, I like to sit on the porch with a cup of tea or a beer, just unwinding. It was during one of those nights that I started noticing something weird about the house across the street. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's got me on edge. The house across from mine belongs to an elderly lady, Mrs. Evelyn Carter. I've never talked to her, just heard her name from a neighbor who came by to introduce himself when I moved in. Her house is plain, kind of run down with peeling paint on the sides. But what really stands out is the porch light. Every single night, without fail, that light starts flickering in a strange way, like there's no pattern to it. Doesn't matter if it's raining, cold, or hot, it flickers the same. At first, I thought it was just an electrical issue, something common in older houses. But then, I started hearing noises along with the flickering. A soft tapping sound, almost rhythmic, coming from inside her house. It's not loud, but it's enough to make me stop and pay attention, wondering what's going on over there. In the first few days, I didn't think much of it. I figured it was just curiosity on my part, you know? It's the kind of thing you notice when you're new to a place and hyper-aware of everything. But then I realized that Mrs. Carter hardly ever shows herself. In 2 months, I've probably seen her maybe 3 times, and always just a quick glimpse, either at the window or rushing out to check her mailbox. What's got me a bit uneasy is that every time I've seen her, it feels like she's staring right at me. It's not just a casual glance. It's intense, like she's trying to say something without speaking. I wave, try to be polite, but she never responds, just stares for a few seconds and then disappears. Honestly, it's starting to creep me out a little. One night about 2 weeks ago, I was on the porch as usual. It was around 10 p.m., and I was beat after a long day of work. I'd just cracked open a beer and was scrolling on my phone when I noticed the porch light at Mrs. Carter's house suddenly stopped flickering. I thought it was odd because it had never stopped before, always kept flickering late into the night. I kept looking over there, trying to figure out what had changed. I put my phone down and focused on the house. That's when I heard something that sent a chill through me. A low, gravelly whisper coming through the open window of my bedroom, which faces the street. It sounded like someone was saying my name. Mark, real slow, almost drawn out. At first I thought I was imagining things. I was tired. It had been a rough day. I got up from my chair and went to the window, just to be sure. I shut it hard, thinking it was the wind or some random street noise. But the whisper came again, clearer this time, like it was coming from her porch across the street. I peeked through the curtain, but I didn't see anyone there, just the light off. My heart was beating a little faster, but I told myself it was just my mind playing tricks. I went back to the porch, grabbed my beer, and tried to let it go. But that night I couldn't relax anymore. I kept thinking about what I'd heard the whole time. After that day, the whispers didn't stop. If anything, they've gotten louder, more persistent. Every night, when I'm on the porch or in my bedroom, I hear that low sound calling my name. Sometimes it comes with the tapping from inside her house, like something or someone is trying to get my attention. I'm starting to think it's not just my imagination. I've even tried recording it on my phone, but the audio picks up nothing, just silence. That messes with me even more because I know I'm hearing something. I'm avoiding the porch at night now, locking everything up and trying to distract myself with TV or music. But even then, I sometimes hear that muffled sound. Another day, I was heading out to grab some stuff at the corner store. I walked past Mrs. Carter's house and for a split second, saw her at the window. This time, she didn't just look at me, it seemed like she moved her mouth, like she was saying something. I couldn't hear anything, I was too far, but the way she stared at me gave me a weird feeling. It felt like she knew something about me, something even I don't know. I know that sounds crazy to say, but it's how I felt. I picked up my pace and didn't look back. When I got home, the window was shut and the curtain drawn. I don't know what to make of all this. I'm starting to be more on guard with this stuff. Before bed, I check that all the windows are locked, that the door is secure. Never been one to worry this much, but now it's different. I'm even thinking about talking to another neighbor, just to see if they've noticed anything odd at Mrs. Carter's house. But at the same time, I'm worried about coming off as paranoid or nosy. I mean, what if she's just a lonely old lady and I'm making up a story in my head? Deep down, I feel like something's off. Can't explain it. It's just a gut feeling that won't go away. These whispers are leaving me at a loss. For what to do? Sometimes it feels like they're not just saying my name. The other day I heard something like, or at least that's what I made out. I have no clue what that means, but just thinking about it tightens my chest. I'm starting to wonder if there's something about the history of that house, or Mrs. Carter herself, that I don't know. Maybe something happened there before. I moved in. I'm not one to believe in weird stuff, but I'm running out of explanations. Should I go over there and try to talk to her? Or will that just make things worse? I've looked online about the street, about her house, but I didn't find anything unusual. It's just some basic info about the neighborhood. Nothing that explains what's going on. I thought about calling an electrician to check out her porch light, but how do I do that without seeming intrusive? Plus, I don't think the issue is just electrical. There's something about that house that's not right, and the more I think about it, the more I feel like it's connected to me somehow. I don't know how or why, but it's like something over there knows who I am. It's got me uneasy in a way I've never felt before. I'm trying to keep my routine normal. Go to work, run errands, but it's hard. Every time I pass by the window and see the house across the street, I get tense. I can't ignore what's happening anymore. The tapping keeps going, the whispers don't stop, and the way Mrs. Carter looks at me sticks in my mind. I'm starting to avoid even glancing over there, but I know that won't solve anything. Part of me wants to know what's behind all this, but another part just wants to pretend it's not happening. I don't know which side will win. All I know is it's getting harder to sleep at night. Last week, something happened that hit me. Even harder, was in my bedroom lying down, trying to fall asleep. I'd left the window cracked open because it was warm. Suddenly I heard the whisper again, louder than usual, almost like it was right outside my house. I jumped up, shut the window, and turned on the light. My heart was racing, but there was nobody outside. It's just her house, with the porch light off as always. I stood there for a while, peeking through the curtain, trying to spot any movement, but nothing. That night I couldn't get back to sleep. I stayed up for hours, thinking about what to do. I'm starting to wonder if this house has a history I don't know about. Maybe something happened here before I moved in, or maybe it's something with Mrs. Carter herself, some secret she's keeping. I don't know, but I feel like there's a connection to all this. My divorce was messy. I left a lot behind and I came here wanting to forget. But now it feels like something from the past or whatever is following me. Doesn't make sense, I know, but it's what keeps running through my head. I'm getting lost in all this, not knowing what to believe. I talked to a neighbor the other day, a guy named Carl, who lives 2 houses down. I asked, real casual, if he'd noticed anything strange at Mrs. Carter's place. He just shrugged and said, "She's quiet, barely talks to anyone." He mentioned the porch light always flickers, but he never paid much attention to it. As for the noises, he said he's never heard anything. I felt awkward pushing it, so I just thanked him and let it go. But that only left me more confused. Am I the only one noticing this stuff? Or is there something others don't want to talk about? I'm thinking about writing all this down in a notebook just to organize my thoughts. Maybe seeing it on paper will help me figure out what's going on. Or maybe I should talk to someone outside the situation, a friend or family member, just to vent. But I don't want them to think I'm losing it. I mean, how do I explain something I don't even understand myself? The whispers, the tapping, the stares, ... It all feels so real, but at the same time so out of the ordinary. I'm at a point where I don't know if I want to find out the truth or just forget this exists. I just know I can't keep ignoring it much longer. Another thing that's got me thinking is that sometimes the whispers seem to say more than just my name. I can't make it out clearly, but there are times it feels like a full sentence. Something about coming back or knowing. I don't know if I'm mishearing, or if my mind's making stuff up, but just thinking about it gives me an anxiety I can't shake. I'm starting to avoid even the front windows of my house. I put up thicker curtains, but even that doesn't seem to help. It's like something knows I'm here. It's not going to stop until I pay attention. I've already looked into Mrs. Carter at the town records, just to see if I could find anything. It's almost nothing. Just the deed to the house in her name for over 30 years. Nobody seems to know much about her life, not even the longtime neighbors. That just makes the mystery bigger. Is she really alone? Or is there something or someone in that house with her? I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I'm running out of options. Every day that goes by, I feel more tangled up in this, even though I don't want to be. It's like I've got to figure out what's going on, whether I like it or not. I'm thinking about going over to her house. Just knock on the door, introduce myself, and see if I can talk. Maybe that's the only way to understand what's happening. But honestly, the idea makes me nervous. What if she doesn't want to talk? Or worse, what if I find out something I didn't want to know? I don't know if I'm ready for that. On the other hand, keeping on like this, hearing these things every night is wearing me down. I can't even feel at peace in my own home. I just want this to stop, or at least to understand why it's happening. For now, I'm trying to go about my day to day. Work, run errands, take care of the house, but I've always got this on my mind. The light on her porch keeps flickering. Some nights, other nights it doesn't. The whispers come and go, but they never fully stop. I still don't know what I'm going to do, or if I'll have the guts to go over there and talk to her. All I know is I can't ignore this much longer. Something in that house knows about me, or at least it feels that way. I don't know what it is, or why, but it's getting harder to pretend everything's okay. Story 2. I'm Sarah. I'm 28 years old. And I moved with my 7-year-old son Ethan to this new neighborhood in Virginia about 3 months ago. After a rough patch, I just wanted a quiet place to start fresh, We got a simple house in the suburbs, close to a small public school called Lockwood Elementary, where I enrolled Ethan. The neighborhood is peaceful, folks know each other, and the school has a real tight-knit community feel. I thought it'd be perfect for us. I work as a receptionist at a dental office, so I'm out most of the day, but I make a point to pick Ethan up from school whenever I can. He's a quiet kid, but curious, and he seemed excited about the move at first. But over the last few weeks, he's been coming home with some weird stories about the school. I'm not sure how seriously to take it, but it's got me worried. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Ethan started talking about an old bell down in the school basement. According to him, the other kids say that bell hasn't rung in decades, since who knows when. But there's a rumor among the students that every now and then, some of them hear a faint chime coming from that bell, like a distant sound. He said the kids who hear it start acting strange afterward. Some sleepwalk, others draw creepy stuff, like dark figures or shadows. At first I thought it was just kid talk, a schoolyard game, I even laughed and told him not to believe everything he hears. But then, he started showing me some drawings he made, and they weren't normal at all. It made my stomach turn. In Ethan's drawings, there were faces I couldn't recognize. They weren't people we know or characters. From cartoons he watches, they were messy lines, with big eyes and expressions that felt unsettling just to look at. I asked him who they were, and he just shrugged, saying he didn't know, that they just came to his mind. That already got me curious, but the worst was when he started waking up at night. Almost every night around 2 or 3 a.m., he comes to my room saying he heard a sound, a soft chime, like a bell. I don't know what to tell him. I try to calm him down, say it was just a dream. But I can see in his eyes that he's really scared. I'm starting to lose sleep over this. Every time Ethan wakes up, I'm up too, thinking about what's happening. My house is small, with a basement I only use to store boxes and old stuff, but I've never heard anything odd coming from there. Even so, I keep wondering if it's related to what he's hearing. During the day, I try to act normal, drop him off at school, make dinner, help with homework. But I'm always watching him, checking if he's acting off. He seems fine during the day, plays, talks, but at night it's different. I don't know if it's just my exhaustion, but I'm starting to feel an anxiety I didn't have before. I decided to ask Ethan more about this bell story. He said a friend, Timmy, told him that whoever hears the bell ends up seeing things they shouldn't. I didn't know what to say because I'm not sure what that means. Is it just kids' imaginations, or is there more to it? Talking to his teacher, Mrs. Reynolds, in a quick meeting after class, she was nice, but said she'd never heard of anything strange about a bell in the basement. She told me kids make up stories all the time and not to worry. But while she was talking, I felt like she was uneasy, like she was dodging the topic. That just made me more curious. I started researching the school on my own. I'm not usually one to dig around, but I needed to know if there was something behind these stories. I looked on the city website, neighborhood forums, even parent groups on Facebook. I didn't find anything official about a bell or anything weird in Lockwood's basement. But in an old group, I read some comments from people mentioning student disappearances from years ago. Nothing solid, just rumors. But they talked about odd things some school staff supposedly did back then, like rituals or whatever. I read that late at night, and honestly, it shook me. Could it have anything to do with what Ethan's going through? I'm trying not to freak out about this. I mean, they're just stories, right? Can't believe everything you read online. But at the same time, I see Ethan changing. He's quieter. Sometimes just stares off into space like he's thinking about something he doesn't want to share. I've caught him drawing again, more strange faces, and when I ask, he just says he heard the bell again. Out of ideas on what to do, thought about switching his school, but I'm not sure if that fixes anything. What if it's something unrelated to the school? I'm starting to feel kind of lost, not knowing how to help my son. One night, a few days ago, something happened that made me even more nervous. I was lying in bed, trying to sleep after another long day at work. Ethan was in his room, and the house was silent. Suddenly, I heard a very faint sound, like a distant chime, almost imperceptible. At first, I thought it was something outside, maybe a car or the wind. But when I listened closer, I realized it was coming from inside the house, from downstairs. From the basement. My heart raced right then, stayed still in bed, trying to hear it again, and I swear I heard it once more. A soft sound, like a bell. I didn't know what to think. I got up slowly, grabbed my phone to use as a flashlight, and went downstairs. My basement has an old wooden door that creaks when it opens. Stood there for a long time, hand on the knob, not brave enough to open. I didn't hear anything else, but my whole body was tense. I thought of Ethan, sleeping upstairs, and felt guilty for being so scared. In the end, I didn't open the door, just went back to my room and locked everything. I stayed up the whole night, thinking about what I'd heard. Was it just in my head, or was there really something down there? I have no idea, but just remembering it makes me uneasy. After that night, I started locking the basement door with a padlock I had stored away. I don't know if it does much, but it makes me feel a bit safer. I told Ethan not to go down there. Under any circumstances, made up a story about broken stuff that could hurt him. He just nodded, but I could tell he was curious. Now I even avoid walking near that door. During the day, I try to keep busy with work, with the house, but nights are tough. Every little noise puts me on edge. I'm starting to think what I heard isn't about the basement, but something that came from the school. Something that's here with us. I'm thinking about talking to other parents at the school to see if anyone's heard something similar, but I'm worried about sounding crazy, you know? Who's gonna believe I heard a bell in my own house if I can't even explain it properly? I tried bringing up switching schools with Ethan, just to gauge his reaction, but he said he likes his friends and doesn't want to leave. That leaves me torn. I don't want to scare him more than he already is, but I can't relax either. Every day that goes by, I feel like something's wrong, something I'm not getting. What if it's more than just a kid's story? The other day, I caught Ethan drawing again. This time, besides the faces, there was a kind of bell in the corner of the page, a bit crooked, but you could tell what it was. I asked him what it was, and he said it was the bell from school, that he heard it again the night before. I just stared at the drawing, not knowing what to say. I felt like tearing up the paper, but I held back. I just put it in a drawer and told him to go play. Afterward, I kept thinking about what all this means. Is he so caught up in the story that he can't think of anything else? Or is something really influencing him? I'm running out of answers. I looked into those disappearances I read about online some more. I didn't find much. It's just a few old local newspaper articles mentioning to kids who vanished in the 70s. There weren't many details, just that they were never found, and the school was investigated at the time. Nothing about bells or rituals, but I read that one staff member back then was let go for suspicious behavior. That made me even more uneasy. Could it be connected to what's happening now? Or am I just connecting dots that aren't there? I don't know, but I can't stop thinking about it. I'm trying to keep up the routine. Take Ethan to school, do the housework, but it's getting harder. Every night I wait to see if I hear that sound again. It's happened once more, real faint, but this time I didn't go down to the basement. I just shut my bedroom door and stayed quiet, hoping it'd stop. Ethan still wakes up sometimes, saying he heard the bell, but there are nights he sleeps through. That confuses me. Is he getting better, or just not telling me everything? I don't know how to bring it up without scaring him more. I just want him to be okay. I talked to a friend from work about this, without going into too much detail. She said it might just be stress, that I'm tired from raising Ethan on my own and imagining things. She suggested taking him to a therapist, just to make sure everything's fine with him. I think that might be a good idea, but deep down I feel like it's not just stress, or something off, something that's not just in my head. Maybe I will take him just to get an outside opinion, but what if the therapist doesn't believe what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it in a way that makes sense. Now I'm even avoiding talking too much about the bell with Ethan. I don't want him to get more fixated on it. I've changed our routine a bit, put him to bed earlier, read lighthearted stories before turning off the light. But even so, he sometimes wakes up in the middle of the night. I'm starting to feel like I've got no control over what's happening. Every noise in the house makes me tense, and I imagine things I don't even want to think about. Is there really something in the basement? Or is it something that came with us from the school? I've got no way of knowing. But the feeling that I'm not alone here won't leave me. I'm thinking about going to the school and asking to speak with someone in administration. Maybe ask about the basement, if there's really a bell there, or if they've heard anything strange. But I don't know how to do that without sounding like I'm overreacting. I also thought about hiring someone to check my basement, just to be sure there's nothing down there. But what if they find nothing, and I keep hearing things? I'm running out of options. I just want to protect Ethan, but I don't know how. Every day that passes, I feel more caught up in this, even without understanding what it is. Maybe it's time to do something before it gets worse. For now, I'm trying to keep going with life. I take Ethan to school, work, take care of the house, but my mind's always on this. The sound I heard in the basement hasn't come back strong. But sometimes I think I hear something real faint, almost like it's not real. Ethan still mentions the bell every now and then, but not as much as before. I don't know if that's good or bad. I just know I'm not at ease, and I don't think I will be until I figure out what's going on. Maybe there's something at the school or in our house that I can't see, something close to us, and that's what's been happening. To me and Ethan, I don't know if anyone's gonna take what I'm saying seriously or if they'll think it's all in my head, but I swear it's real to me. I'm living through this every day. If anyone has any ideas on what to do or has gone through something like this, I'd like to hear about it, because right now, I don't know which way to turn. I've got more questions than answers, and a weird feeling that won't go away. Who knows? Maybe with time, I'll figure out what's behind all this. Or maybe I'll never understand. Only the future will tell. For now, I've just got to wait and see what happens. Story 3. I live in a small town, you know. One of those places where everybody knows each other, and the streets get empty after 9 at night. Yesterday, around 8:30, I decided to go for a walk to clear my head. It had been a kind of rough day, with a bunch of stuff on my mind from work, and I just wanted some fresh air. I live near a park around here, not real big, but it's got some dirt trails we use for walking or biking. It's not exactly well lit, but since it's usually quiet, I've never worried too much about it. I grabbed my phone, put on some earbuds, with the music turned down low, and headed out of the house. The sky was cloudy, no moon, but I could still make out the path thanks to some old streetlights they've got there. I'd been walking for about 10 minutes, just thinking about stuff, when I noticed the sound of my footsteps seemed off, like it felt like there was another noise, mixed in as if someone was walking behind me. I stopped for a second and took off my earbuds to listen better, but I didn't hear anything except the wind. I kept walking, but now I was more on edge, you know. I'd glance back every once in a while, but I didn't see anybody. The park was empty, like it always is at that hour. Still, the uneasy feeling wouldn't go away. I wasn't sure if it was just in my head, or if something weird was really going on. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, that I was just tired and overthinking. But then, a few yards ahead, I heard it again. Sound of footsteps on the dirt. Real clear, like someone was stepping hard. My heart sped up a bit, but I didn't want to look dumb, so I just picked up my pace. There was a bend in the trail coming up, and I figured if I got past it, maybe I'd see someone, or at least feel safer. I don't know why, but it seemed like the more I walked, the louder the sound got. I reached the bend and looked back again. Nothing. Absolutely no one. But the sound stopped right when I did. I decided I wasn't going to play detective out there. My gut was screaming at me to head back home, so I turned around and started walking back the same way I came. But this time it was dead silent. Not even the wind seemed to make a noise. I had this weird feeling like I was being watched, but I didn't want to look to the sides or behind me. I just kept my eyes on the park exit, which was about 5 minutes away. As I walked, I started noticing that the shadows from the trees seemed, darker than usual. Can't explain it right, but it looked like they were moving a little, even though there was no breeze. I knew that couldn't be real, that my mind was messing with me, but I couldn't take my eyes off the trail. I was trying to focus just on the sound of my own steps until I heard a whisper. Real quiet, almost impossible to catch, but clear enough to make me stop dead. In my tracks, I froze. It wasn't a voice I recognized or even a word I could make out. It was more like a murmur, like someone talking real far away, but at the same time way too close. My first thought was that someone was hiding in the trees, maybe messing with me. But who'd do that at this hour, in this place? It didn't make sense. I looked around, trying to figure out where the sound was coming from. I didn't see anything but darkness between the tree trunks. My whole body was tense, and I just wanted to get out of there as fast as I could. I took a deep breath and kept walking, almost jogging, but trying not to look like I was freaking out. The whisper didn't come back, but the feeling that something was there with me wouldn't leave. I just wanted to get to the main road where there was more light and people around. As I got close to the park exit, I saw the lights from the street poles and felt a little more at ease. But as I was passing through the iron gate that separates the park from the sidewalk, I swear I heard that murmur again. This time it seemed like it was coming from behind me, almost like it was right in my ear. I didn't look back, didn't have the guts. I just sped up until I hit the street, where there were some folks driving by and others walking. My heart was racing and I was sweating, even though the night air was cool. I looked at the park from a distance, trying to make sense of what happened, but I didn't see anything unusual, just the dark entrance and the silent trees. I started wondering if I was losing my mind. When I got home, I locked the door and turned on all the lights. I don't know why, but it felt like the darkness outside was heavier than normal. I sat on the couch and tried to calm down, drinking a glass of water and breathing slow. But honestly, I couldn't stop thinking about what I heard. It wasn't just the sound of footsteps or the whisper. It was the feeling that something was there following me, and I didn't know what it was. I tried to think logically, telling myself it could have been the wind or some small animal in the trees. But deep down I knew it wasn't that. The sound was too human, and at the same time, it wasn't. I sat there staring out the window for a while, but I didn't see anything strange. Even so, I couldn't sleep well. The next day I woke up still thinking about it. Over breakfast, I kept wondering if I should tell someone or just try to forget it. But how do you forget something like that? I decided to ask my neighbor, Marcos, who's lived here for years and knows the park pretty well. He's an older guy, always got stories to tell. I went over to his place and, kinda embarrassed, told him what happened. He looked at me with a serious face, different from his usual jokey vibe. He He said the park was an old place, that before it became a park, it had been abandoned land for decades. He didn't go into much detail, but mentioned that some people had heard strange stuff there at night. He just advised me not to walk around there after dark. I didn't know what to think. Part of me wanted to believe it was just a coincidence, that Marcos was just trying to spook me with tall tales. But another part couldn't ignore what I felt. That presence, that sound, didn't seem like something I made up. After talking to him, I spent the whole day kind of distracted, replaying that trail in my head. I went to work, but honestly, I didn't get much done. I kept remembering the murmur, trying to figure out what it could have been. Was someone really following me and I just didn't see them? Or was it something I can't even imagine? Don't. No, I just know I don't feel as comfortable walking around there anymore. Now, at night, as I'm writing this, I'm still thinking about what happened. I look out the window every now and then, half expecting to see something out of place, but everything looks normal. The street's quiet, like always. Even so, I left the porch light on. I don't know if it's to feel safer, or if it's just paranoia. I'm even avoiding going near the window that looks out to the back of the house, where you can see the park. It sounds silly, but I feel like if I look, I might see something I don't want to see. Maybe it's just in my head, but the feeling won't go away. I just wish I could understand what that was. I haven't told anyone else, just Marcos. I'm scared people will think I'm going crazy or making up stories. But I swear I'm not. I heard what I heard, felt what I felt. I'm not one to believe in supernatural stuff or anything like that. I've always been pretty grounded. But after yesterday, I don't know what to think anymore. Was it just a trick of my mind because I was tired? Or is there something in that park I can't explain? I keep wondering if other people have gone through this and just never said anything. Who knows? I'm thinking about going back there, just to see if it happens again. Maybe during the day, with more people around, so I feel safer. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to mess with it again.
Now, what if it's something I wasn't
supposed to hear? What if, somehow, I caught the attention of something that was just sitting quiet? It sounds crazy to write this, but it's what's on my mind right now. I don't know if I'll have the nerve to go back anytime soon. 4. Now I'm gonna avoid going there at night. That's for sure. Another thing that's bugging me is that, since yesterday, I've got this feeling like I'm not completely alone, even inside my house. It's nothing obvious. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. It's just a vibe. Like there's a weight in the air. I try to ignore it, turn on the TV or play some music, but it doesn't help much. I keep thinking if this is gonna go away or if I'm gonna carry this feeling for longer. I'm writing this more to vent than anything else. Maybe putting it down on paper will help me sort out my thoughts. But so far it's not helping as much as I'd like. I spent the day looking up some stuff online about the park, just out of curiosity. I didn't find anything too solid, just some old stories about the land before it turned into what it is now. Nothing that explained what happened to me. There were some silly legends about the place, but nothing that seemed legit. Stuck in my head, is there some truth to those stories? Or am I just looking for reasons to freak myself out more than I already am? I don't know. I just want an explanation that makes sense. As I'm writing, I'm listening to the sounds in the house. It's normal, you know. The fridge humming, the wind hitting the window. But every noise puts me on edge now. Before, I didn't even notice. This stuff, now anything out of the ordinary makes me stop and listen. I'm trying to convince myself it's just the shock of the experience, that it'll pass soon. But what if it doesn't? What if this sticks with me longer than I want? I don't know how to deal with this. Maybe I should talk to someone else. Maybe a close friend. I'm thinking about how peaceful it used to be walking through that park. I did it almost every week, sometimes even at night, and never had a problem. Why did this happen now? Was it just a fluke, or did something change? I can't stop thinking about it. I wish I could go back in time and not leave the house yesterday. Maybe I would have avoided all this, but it's too late now, and here I am, just trying to make sense of something that doesn't seem to have an answer, for now. I'm gonna let go of the idea of going back to the park. Maybe with time I'll forget, or at least stop caring so much. But deep down, I know it won't be that easy. Every time I pass by the window and see that iron gate in the distance, I remember what happened. I don't know if it's fear or just curiosity, but something tells me it's not over. Maybe I'll never know what it was. Maybe that's for the best. I don't know if anyone's going to believe what I'm saying. Heck, if I heard this story from someone else, I might doubt it myself. But living through it like I did, I can't ignore it. I'm not asking anyone to believe me, I just wanted to get this down somehow. Maybe one day I'll find someone who's had a similar thing happen there, or maybe I'll never bring this up again. Only time will tell. For now, I guess I'll try to get back to normal life. Tomorrow, I've got work stuff to take care of, and I can't stay stuck on this. But honestly, I'm not as calm as I'd like to be. I'm going to keep the lights on again tonight, just in case. I don't know if it helps, but it makes me feel a little better. If something else happens, maybe I'll write again. Or maybe not. I don't know, I wanted to wrap this up with an answer, something to close out this story, but I don't have one. I don't know what that sound was. I don't know what that feeling was. I just know it happened, and I'm not ready to deal with it again. If anyone's got an idea of what it could have been, I'm open to hearing it. But for now, I'm gonna lay low, stay away from that park at night. It's the best I can do.